Hi, ArcfieldWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Monday morning, March the 10th. Much warmer conditions will move into the Mid-Atlantic region for this afternoon and Tuesday. It's what I call spring fever alert type weather coming to places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City for Monday afternoon and on Tuesday as well. Then it turns quite a bit cooler for Wednesday and Thursday in the northeastern part of the nation. Last week we talked about the possibility of backdoor cold fronts this time of the year, and especially during the month of April. These are frontal systems that move from the northeast to the southwest as a low-level flow of northeasterly winds can develop and quickly end a warm spell and bring much cooler conditions off the still cold western Atlantic into places like Boston, New York City, Philadelphia, and even down to D.C. And again, will turn quite a bit cooler for Wednesday and Thursday in the Mid-Atlantic region, in the northeast U.S. And then temperatures will surge again to much milder conditions for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Meanwhile, out in the middle of the country, the Central Plains, there is the possibility of some severe weather late this week, and it looks like that severe weather threat could shift to, let's say, the Tennessee Valley region Saturday night time frame. So we'll talk about that over the next few minutes. Now, this warm surge into the eastern states over the next couple of days is not the end of the cold air outbreaks. This is not the beginning of a long-term stretch of warm weather for the eastern part of the nation. One of the reasons I feel pretty confident in saying that there will be additional cold air outbreaks for the central and eastern U.S. is a ongoing stratospheric warming event. Stratospheric warming this time of the year often leads to a colder than normal pattern in the weeks to follow in places like the central and eastern states. And again, I expect right around maybe, let's say, March 20th, 21st or so, the pattern to become colder than normal with additional colder outbreaks for the central and eastern states. And that change back to colder than normal can last all the way into the middle part of April. Let's start off here by focusing in on this ongoing stratospheric warming event. And it really got underway a couple of weeks ago. What we're looking at here are the temperature anomalies at 10 millibars. This is way up at the top of the atmosphere, the stratosphere. And wherever you see the red here, that signifies warmer than normal conditions. And this line right here represents basically the North Pole. What we're looking at is 90-degree latitude right here. And you can see in these last few frames that go from in this 30-day period to March 7th, you can see this flood of warmer than normal conditions right up to the North Pole. And again, that is what we're experiencing right now, a stratospheric warming event right over the North Pole. And again, typically that can lead to colder than normal conditions. Not immediately. It takes a few weeks for that to really have an impact. But in this case, I believe the latter part of March and going into perhaps as late as the middle part of April, on average, colder than normal conditions across the central and eastern states. Now, colder than normal in late March and April, certainly not like colder than normal conditions in January, but nonetheless, it looks like a pretty ugly start to the spring season in much of the nation. Again, owing a lot to this ongoing stratospheric warming event that is really peaking over the next few days. Well, that 30-day loop of temperature anomalies at 10 millibars was one way to kind of visually see what's going on at the stratosphere. And here is another way. This is kind of a map, a conventional map that we've shown before of the snapshot of the 10 millibar temperatures. This is the North Pole right in this area right here. The U.S. is down over here on this kind of a map. On this side, that's the Siberian side of the North Pole. And you can see this warmer than normal conditions here. These are warm temperatures compared to the polar vortex, which has been kind of disrupted and shifted away from the pole. Again, the North Pole right here. These are not warm temperatures, but relative to the polar vortex, this is quite a significant warming. You can see these light gray here. We're talking about minus 20 degrees C, but the polar vortex is typically somewhere around minus 65 degrees C or so. So again, we have this warm up right over the pole, and this is the current snapshot look here, and we'll go out now 10 days from right now. And here we go. This is a 10-day forecast. Again, we're starting off looking like this right now, and again, the North Pole right there, and then we go to this in 10 days, and you can see that really a disruption of the polar vortex, really kind of 2 or 3 different pieces to that polar vortex. 10 days from now, you have the warming conditions right over the North Pole, but the original polar vortex displaced all the way over here, and kind of a piece here, maybe a piece down here over the U.S. Again, this typically leads to more cold air outbreaks for the central and eastern U.S. It's a little hard to say where the core of that colder than normal conditions will set up, and in this case, I think from the latter part of March going into about mid-April, but nonetheless, a major disruption to the polar vortex, likely to lead to additional cold air outbreaks for much of the nation. Again, probably starting that 3rd week of March or so and going into the middle part of April. Well, let's now get back to the continental U.S. and we'll talk about that potential for severe weather late this week going into the upcoming weekend. We're starting off here with a look at the 500 millibar height anomaly patterns from the 0Z run of the GFS. We have this kind of a bowling ball type of system rolling across the southeastern states, causing a soaking rainfall for the southeast U.S., including Georgia and parts of the Carolinas, and they can use the rain down. This is a beneficial rainfall right here. A ridge over the middle part of the excuse me, of the nation. And now let's move forward and see what happens. This continues to move off to the east, causing again soaking rainfall across the southeastern U.S. Then we get into the middle of the week. Here's the Wednesday forecast. That ridge centered over the mid-Atlantic region. Now, yes, there's a strong ridge over the mid-Atlantic region on Wednesday, but the low levels of the atmosphere will feature northeast winds. We'll see that when we take a look at the surface maps over the next few minutes. But you take a quick look at here, and you could say maybe Wednesday's going to be a very warm day in places like Philadelphia, New York City, but no, we have this backdoor cold front to deal with, and low-level winds below this 500 millibar level will bring in still chilly air off the western Atlantic. But here we go. Watch this system out here by Wednesday. That just slides to the east, and then we'll move all the way to this time period. Let's back up a little bit. Here we go by Friday afternoon. This is a kind of a dangerous pattern here when you have, again, this dichotomy with upper level trough and colder than normal conditions to the west, upper level ridge and warmer than normal conditions off to the east. This is the battle zone region in between the two, and this is later Friday afternoon, and we'll see this kind of continue into the day on Saturday, maybe shifting to the east or so, but this is a little worrisome of a sign. We'll see if in fact this turns out to be a severe weather outbreak during the day, late Friday night time frame, and again, potentially going into the day on Saturday. We'll go out a little farther in time. Here we go by the time we get to Friday night, Saturday morning. That main upper level low shifts from the Rockies to the northeast to the western part of the Great Lakes. And now you have that kind of battle zone region shifting to the east as well right here. And this is the area to watch for during the day on Saturday, maybe the lower middle Mississippi Valley region, the Tennessee Valley as well. This could be a potential severe weather kind of a pattern here on Saturday, and then we'll go into the day on Sunday right here. And at this particular time, you'll have a strong frontal system sliding into the eastern states. This could set up soaking rainfall for places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, with the possibility of some heavy rainfall, maybe even some strong thunderstorms on Sunday in the eastern states. Again, you have that separation here with the ridge off to the east, the upper level low off to the west, and here's your battle zone region reaching the eastern states by the time we get to Sunday, March 16th. Well, temperatures have surged this morning to well above normal conditions across the northern plains, and some of that warmer than normal weather is now finally shifting into the mid-Atlantic region, the northeast U.S., following a chilly weekend here. And we'll move forward here. And again, tomorrow, beautiful day. This is Tuesday. The D.C. may get up to 70 degrees on Tuesday with some sunshine, 65 easily in Philadelphia, 60s in New York City, excuse me, as well. And we have well above normal conditions extending all the way from the south central states to the southeastern part of Canada. Then we'll go into the middle part of the week, and again, at this particular time, you have kind of a backdoor cold front bringing in cooler conditions from a northeast flow of air into Boston, New York City, Philadelphia, and even down to D.C. They'll cool off on Wednesday and Thursday compared to what they'll experience today and tomorrow. Now, let's move forward here in time, and we'll get to that severe weather possibility. Here we go. By the time we get to Friday, way above normal conditions out across the middle part of the nation to begin the day on Friday. But look right here, we have all this colder than normal condition by Friday night, and again, this sets up that battle zone region right in here with the ridge off to the east, the warm conditions off to the east, the trough off to the west, colder than normal conditions off to the west. This is that severe weather type of signal here, and we've talked over the past couple of weeks that the fact that we'll have continuing cold air outbreaks, it looks like right through the month of March and even into April, suggests we could have multiple severe weather events here. And again, this is a possibility at the end of this week. That's the Friday evening forecast map. Will go out a little bit farther in time, and that can shift to the middle Mississippi Valley region, Tennessee Valley region for Saturday, a potential threat of severe weather as we begin the weekend here. And finally, that strong front will slide all the way into the eastern states on Sunday. Still warm ahead of it on Sunday in D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, but colder air will be on the doorstep just off to the west, and this could lead to perhaps a soaking rain event up and down the eastern seaboard on Sunday as that cold front slides to the east coast here from the middle part of the nation. Well, now let's take a look at the surface forecast maps, and again we have a soaking rain down across the southeastern states, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina. They can use the rain. Some of that rain makes its way down all the way down the peninsula of Florida as well. Again, this is associated with that kind of a bowling ball in the upper part of the atmosphere, a strong upper level low. At one time, maybe 10 days or so ago, it looked like this could come up into the northeastern states where there's still a little bit of cold air, but now it's moving basically west to east here to a position off the South Carolina coastline by later on today. Now, let's move forward here. That mild weather moves into the Mid-Atlantic region, 60-plus degrees this afternoon. D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, near 70 degrees in some spots on Tuesday. Spring fever alert type weather this afternoon and on Tuesday as well. Then we get to the middle of the week, and when you see high pressure over southeastern Canada this time of the year or into the month of April, that spells trouble. That spells a backdoor cold front with a low-level northeasterly flow of air that can quickly change conditions from well above normal to normal or below places like Boston, New York City, Philadelphia, and even D.C. And indeed, that is what will take place probably 65 to 70 degrees in New York City on Tuesday afternoon. We'll probably do well to get to 50 degrees on Wednesday in New York City with that backdoor cold front playing a big role in the temperature pattern here. Now, let's move beyond this time frame here, and we'll see that temperatures will then kind of surge back to above normal conditions by the time we get to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here's Thursday, and then we get into the day on Friday. That high pressure scoots off the coast. That allows for warmer conditions to move back into the Mid-Atlantic region for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And here is the area of concern as we get into the end of the week, Friday, Saturday, into this part of the nation. Look at the isobar pattern. First of all, we have strong low pressure. That's always a red flag this time of the year when you have strong low pressure in this part of the nation with a tight pressure gradient pattern. I say a red flag for the potential of severe weather, including tornadoes. A very strong surface low pressure system. That is worrisome indeed. This is Friday morning, and this is a counterclockwise flow of air. You're pumping very, very warm conditions all the way up from the south central states into the northern plains. Now, Let's move forward in time here and see what happens here. Again, strong surface low pressure. This is the area of concern Friday night, and then that kind of slides and kind of reforms here on late Saturday night, right in this area right here. Again, the lower middle Mississippi Valley region, that surface low way up to the north, strong low, still 979 millibar low here. A lot of cold air in the cold sector moving into the Tennessee Valley, the middle Mississippi Valley region, colder than normal. And this could lead to some severe weather later Saturday night, right in this part of the nation. And then that slowly slides to the eastern seaboard. Here we go into the midday on Sunday, a strong cold front right in this area right here. This could lead to a soaking rain event along the east coast, maybe even some strong thunderstorms. This is several days away, but something we'll watch out for on Sunday again. Friday night, maybe in this part of the nation. Saturday night, maybe a severe weather threat in this part of the nation, and perhaps Sunday along the eastern seaboard as that front finally makes its way in. Go out a little bit farther in time, and you see on the back side of that front some colder air moves in. A week from right now, the early part of next week looks like it'll turn to maybe colder than normal again, at least for a while, in the Mid-Atlantic region, in the northeast U.S. But you can see that won't last too long, because right on its heels you have another surge of warmer than normal conditions. This is a week from right now. A surge of warmth from the south central states back up to the northern plains. Next Monday, we're talking about March 17th. Now, beyond that, again, we talked about this ongoing stratospheric warming event that certainly looks like it'll maybe peak over the next few days with a major disruption of the polar vortex. Typically, that leads to some additional cold air outbreaks this time of the year. And in this particular case, maybe March 20th, 21st or so, and beyond into the middle part of April. Watch out for cold air outbreaks again, central and eastern states, maybe even affecting the western U.S. as well. An ongoing stratospheric warming event. That's it for now. Again, over the next few days, we'll focus in on the possibility of severe weather in that Friday, Saturday, Sunday time frame. I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian for arcfieldweather.com.